And also let's call on Ambassador Alex Shukuma Ubo. Please put your hands together for Ambassador Alex Shukuma Ubo for his award. And standing close by is Ambassador Ogoga Ogunayole for his award. Please put your hands together for them and have that get shot so that we can get more organized here for the award. Ambassador Alex Shukuma, is he here? Please come up quickly. Ambassador Alex Shukuma Ubo. Ambassador Alex Shukuma, as the Delta State Civil Society most remarkable, credible elections campaigner of the year, the Doyen of Civil Society Award of Recognition to Ambassador Alex Shukuma Ubo as the Delta State Civil Society most remarkable, credible elections campaigner of the year. Please put your hands together for him. And to Ambassador Ogaga Yole. And after that, we'll have Pastor Lakefa Idowu. This category of award is to Ambassador Ogaga Yole as the Delta State Civil Society Exceptional Youth Leadership and Development Personage of the Year. The next award goes to no other person but Reverend Father Paul Arizobi. Reverend Father Paul Arizobi and Pastor Lakefa, one after the other. Okay, thank God it's a Reverend Father and a pastor. Pastor Pastor Lakefa Idowu Simode as the Delta State Civil Society most outstanding conflict resolution, non-violence, and peace-building personality of the year. Pastor Lakefa Idowu Simode. Please put your hands together for them, please. Reverend Father Paul Arizobi. This award of recognition is presented to you today as the Delta State Civil Society Crusader for the Vulnerable and People with Disabilities of the Year. All right. The next award goes to Comrade Kevin H. Chumudo. And after that, Ambassador Dr. Eris Jaro, please.
I dedicate this award to all members of NSAS panel and to our comrades who love their life at Lekki Tollgate. God bless humanity.
This award, Comrade Kevin Ejemudo, as a Delta State Civil Society Exceptional Anti-Police Brutality Activist and Social Justice Crusader of the Year. Please put your hands together for him. The next award goes to now Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga. Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga, please, so that the senator can have this. Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga. Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga, this award is presented to Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga. Please put your hands together for him. Comrade Osai Daliti Ogaga, as a Delta State Civil Society Child Care Values and Parental Development Champion of the Year. Thank you very much. Now, that is the end of this first round of awards. Senator, can please have a seat. Put your hands together for the Senator. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Right now, let us listen to the United States Consulate, and then we'll go to the next set of awards, and Tade will come up.
Good morning. My name is Brianna Olson. I'm a political economic officer with the U.S. Consulate in Lagos. It is an honor to join you virtually today to celebrate the 5th anniversary of Civil Society Day in Delta State. A special thanks to Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Civic Engagement in Civil Society, activist Rex Onikoro, for inviting me to participate in this valuable event. Rex is an alumnus of the U.S. Government Exchange Program called the International Visitor Leadership Program. We are proud of Rex for taking what he learned in the United States to make positive changes in his community and in his country. Nigeria's success is important to the United States. Our diplomatic presence here is one of America's largest and most dynamic missions in all of Africa. But critical to Nigeria's success is a strong, vibrant, and engaged civil society. Civil society is essential to empower individuals and catalyze governments to help lift communities out of poverty, hold leaders accountable to principles of good governance, protect Nigeria's environment and wildlife, and achieve shared prosperity and dignity for all. Community groups, human rights defenders, journalists, religious leaders, they all play an important role in the equation and are essential to the progress that we all want to see made. Earlier this year, the U.S. Agency for International Development launched a new 5-year, $32 million initiative in Nigeria called Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement. It is referred to as SCALE. The program seeks to enhance the ability of civil society organizations to influence policies and reforms across the most critical service sectors, including health, education, water and sanitation, agriculture, extractive industries, and governance. We believe Nigerian society has the potential to support transformational change in the country, and our investment in SCALE underscores the depth of the U.S. commitment to strengthen CSO advocacy and capacity. The U.S. government applauds Delta State for taking the time to recognize and reflect on the important role that civil society plays in Nigeria's democracy. Dedicating a day to honor public service activists and nonprofit stakeholders is very meaningful and speaks to the importance that the state places on its non-government leaders.
All right, thank you very much. Before Tade comes up, let's take the second set of awards quickly. For the second set of awards, let's welcome Augusta Impact. Augusta Impact. Augusta Impact, please. And I'm calling on Dr. Bayuana to come and present the set of awards, sir. Please put your hands together for Dr. Bayuana. After this stuff, sir, you will be fully ready, sir. Put your hands together for Dr. Bayuana. The Doyen of Civil Society Award of Recognition is presented to Ambassador Augusta Impact as the Delta State Civil Society Sustainable Development Goals SDGs Advocacy Champion of the Year. This award is therefore presented to you, Augusta Impact. The next award goes to Patricia Gbemudu, please. Okay, while we wait for Gbemudu, let's call on Kometonga Kasikoro. Kometonga Kasikoro Kilo Pride. Please put your hands together for her. As the Delta State Civil Society Most Outstanding Rural Women Development Activist of the Year, Comrade Tonga Kasikoro. Comrade Patricia Gbemudu. Comrade Patricia Gbemudu. As the Delta State Civil Society Media Personality of the Year, Comrade Patricia Gbemudu. And now to Courage Uyoyo Ayobota. This award is presented to Comrade Courage Uyoyo Ayobota as the Delta State Civil Society Child Rights and Girl Child Defender of the Year. Courage Uyoyo Ayobota. And now to Dikimonde Enuidi. Please, Dikimonde Enuidi, please. This Doyen of Civil Society Award of Recognition is presented to Dikimonde Enuidi as the Delta State Civil Society Most Outstanding Coordinator of a Civil Society Organization of the Year. Dikimonde Enuidi. This award is going to be presented to Comrade Victor Oje. Comrade Victor Oje, aka One Boss, aka the Troubler of the Nation, aka Wale Sherika. This award is presented to Comrade Victor Oje as the Delta State Civil Society Social Change and Good Governance Advocate of the Year. All right, thank you very much. We can sit down now so that we can. And now let's call on our leader, Tade Adeotu, to make a statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, our fathers and leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We quickly do an exercise because in the IVLP family, we have a way we clap. So the first clap is for these, our fathers and mother here. Now look at me. Because I see that it's like we are struggling, to do the clapping. This is how we clap in the IVLP. And the IVLP stands for International Visitor Leadership Program Alumni Association of the United States Mission to Nigeria. So this is how we clap. together for ourselves. You know, we actually need that exercise. Thank you so much for having me here. Last year I was here and it was an awesome experience for me. Activist Rex, thank you so much. This man is a giver. There's always something to give with him. His time, his thoughts, his ideas, his resources. Thank you for having me here once again. I won't take much of our time. Last year when I was here, I told about 2 stories and the responses that came in have been, you know, so overwhelming. I'll just go straight to how I feel, because when it said to me, you're going to speak on opening the civic space, what the civil society must do, and then the quest for good governance. The first question I asked when I saw those, you know, group of phrases was, when we say good governance, what are we talking about? Because there were values we were raised with in the past. There are people who break the tenets of those values now, and they get away with it, depending on their political party, political affiliation, religion, or ethnicity. So I was like, good governance, what exactly are we talking about? Because good governance these days is relative. I remember I was opportune to speak somewhere, and somebody asked me, what do you think is the solution to Nigeria's problem? And I said to him, you are virtually, you know, joining this meeting and you're in Abuja. That, in my own opinion, is another country entirely. Because the rules and regulations that govern where you are is totally different from the rules and regulations that govern where I am in Lagos. In Lagos and on the mainland, there are things that govern the mainland that can never happen on the island. We live in an age and time where people will just, you know, influence and do whatever they like, and they openly get away with it. So I asked, when you say good governance is relative, what are we talking about? Are we talking about what we call good governance in the 80s or in the 90s or in the early 2000s? Sometimes ago, I put a call across to my friend, and I was hearing this little girl grumbling at the background, like, Daddy, give me my book, Daddy, give me my book. And I was like, what's wrong? Give the girl a book. And I said, I don't mind the girl. I am the one struggling to pay her school fees. And they gave her an assignment to school, and she wants to write another person's father's name. So I'm like, how is that relevant? He said, they asked the child to write the name of the newly sworn-in ministers. And I got to Minister of Power. He said, and this daughter of mine wants to write another person's father's name in that space. He mentioned the name of the person. I said, well, she's correct, that's the name, Minister of Power. He said, go and sit down. Each building on my street paid 150,000 to purchase a transformer. We were asked to pay an additional 20,000 for the officials to come and install it. In my house, I have 2 generators. The smaller one for the day, the bigger one for the night. I buy diesel and petrol every day. Tell me, who is the Minister of Power? You know, we laughed. Not because it was funny, but because we chose not to cry. Now it doesn't live in Nigeria anymore. But that brings me to the fact that it would be very irresponsible of us to pretend as though we are not aware of what is going on in this country. We have seen accusations, we have had lies and all that. But I thank God, because when we went to the governor this morning, he was actually speaking my mind. Because we have seen accusations, counter-accusations, we have seen lies, you know, we have seen the government ignore and discard our concerns when we raise them, or at best make empty promises. Their promises are so empty that we don't even bother believing their promises anymore. We as the people, both the government and the governed, we now wield the sword of religion and ethnicity consistently, and we are damning the severe consequences that come with such a myopic venture. In the Nigeria of today, we don't even ask what is wrong. We rather say, will anything be right in this country? That is how we speak now. We have become so accustomed to the wrong that we are not enticed or excited by the right values anymore. We are daily adjusting to new normal. New normal that we have created and allowed to prevail in our homes and in our community at large. Rather than for us to maximize the strength in our diversity, we have turned the same strength into a nightmare. And gradually, as a people, we are losing the freedoms that we have enjoyed, and we are becoming prisoners of our own doings. Now, the fundamental element in any relationship is trust. We heard Governor talk about it when he was here. And we know that we don't trust our politicians, and they don't trust us too. Even within us as people, we don't trust ourselves. When I see the Igbo man, I'm like, this one is Igbo, he's not like me. When I see the Fulani man, I feel these are the headsmen. I don't trust him. It's almost like there's a war between ethnicity and humanity, between religiosity and sincerity. We'd rather be religious than be sincere with ourselves. And this lack of trust and genuine appreciation for our unique difference has laden the civil society, in fact, this is where I'm going, with the burden of harnessing its voice, its stand, and resources to restore the needed trust if you are genuinely interested in the kind of society that we believe we deserve. The lack of trust and genuine appreciation for our unique differences has laden the civil society with this big burden. The task before the civil society is a huge one, as the people look to the civil society to get justice. Sometimes people even look to the civil society to get their basic needs met, and it's really so sad. They look to the civil society to amplify their voices so that the authority can at least hear, even if they won't do anything. And most importantly, the citizens look to the civil society to speak the language that forces the authority to respond, to give the response that addresses whatever issue is being raised. You and I know that there are really alarming issues in this country. Sometimes we are afraid and we hide it. We all know that civil society is like the conscience of the nation, speaking the truth at all times, no matter how difficult or who might be affected. The role of the civil society is so crucial and delicate because the people have more faith in the civil society than in the government. And if this is not taken very seriously, once we lose that trust, the tragedy will almost be irreversible. As the middle ground between governments and the people, it is on the civil society to midwife the peace and stability that we so desperately need in this country. It is on the civil society to speak with the voice of wisdom, the voice of truth, the voice of grace at all levels in our communities and society at large. Now, in the quest for good governance, which we seek, and it's part of what I've been asked to speak about, the civil society must confront the government with the reality of the impact of its policies on the people, and also be ready for meaningful dialogue. We can't be seen as antagonistic all the time, that we are always fighting, we are not listening. We should also be ready for meaningful dialogue that will bear fruit. We must also be part of the solution process, which is really crucial. The civil society cannot afford to be silenced when inadequacy or insensitivity is perceived on the part of government. When the government or its officials violate the rule of law, when they try to truncate due process in any circumstance, it is on us to speak out. Are we together, please? Ladies and gentlemen, are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Thank you. I just have a few minutes more. Now, we must get to the level where both the citizens and the government are certain that no matter what happens, the civil society will always speak up against discrepancies, illegitimacies, oppression, corruption, and all that. Now, the most important part of all this for me is that we must get to the point where we give attention to the micro-government within us, where the micro-government of our own homes, where at home we are at the ends of affairs as parents and caregivers, in our offices where we are bosses or departmental heads, in the micro-government of our own lives, where we make decisions and take steps that will directly or indirectly impact on the life of our friends and family and associates. We must speak the truth to ourselves first, until we are able to summon enough courage to ask questions, to profess solutions, but to look at ourselves in the mirror and be courageous enough to question ourselves, our motives, our intention, the micro-government of our own lives. Until we get to that point, in my own opinion, we've not started. Or just like somebody said, The task ahead of us cannot be greater than the power within us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leader Tade. I can see that many people, yes, the time has been fast spent, but please, is our day, if these people could come all the way from Abuja, from Lagos, everywhere, and they are still here waiting because of us, please, we will manage the time. Anyone who's coming up should, so that we can all close together. I appeal to you all to just wait in the next 15-20 minutes, we'll be done. Thank you very much. Please. It's also a very good thing that when you have been listened to or you have been honored, you wait to honor other people. That is human right itself. When you only want to be heard and you don't want to hear the other person, it's a character flaw that we need to all deal with. So please, if you are here and because you have been heard, you are not going and leaving others, what if every other person got up and left you? Nobody will listen to each other. So I plead with all of us to hear what they have to say, even as they do so in brevity. Please, I beg you. In 15-20 minutes, we'll be out of here. I recognize the presence of my brother, Israel Joel, who is in the house. Please put your hands together for him. All right. Before the next set of awards, and I expect you not to go away, I expect you to sit. We are rounding up. I call on the Executive Director of the Nigerian Network of NGOs, and then I will call on my elder brother, Madogwe, to speak to us in 2 minutes, and we'll be done. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Rex, and thanks to the Civil Society Committee in Delta for welcoming us. When Senator Shehu Sani was talking, and also Madam Ayobe, I said in my mind, I said, thank God, Senator Shehu Sani has gone to all the prisoners we have gone to. And that, they've done all of the work that needed to be done, and that's why we have them here today. So under my leadership as the Nigerian Network of NGOs, I said to myself, how do we start recognizing our leaders, those that have gone ahead of us, and have opened the space for us to be able to engage and have the decent engagement that we have with government at this time. So we started the 100 Civil Society Leaders Award, where we are celebrating very important sector leaders that have created the space for us. And what you are receiving today, I'll tell you the importance. The importance is that when you see government pushing back these days, they will tell us, civil society, who are you accountable to? All right? And we ourselves will say to ourselves that yes, we represent the issues that affect the common man. However, awards are part of a self-regulatory framework as non-profits. As Nigerian Network of NGOs, we are at this time having conversations with as many civil society leaders as we can, and we're discussing our sector self-regulation. So we went into some level of research to see what does self-regulation looks like for civil society. And we found 5 models that exist globally at this time and that are best practices. One of them is an award system. The other is a code of conduct, right, that guides the way we work. The other part is around working groups, where we come together as a working group and say this is how we would behave, and we develop a code of conduct. The other is around information service, where you also then decide and say these are the basic minimum information that we will publish about our activities so that citizens can know. And also the other part is now certification, where an agency or a system just looks at your ways of working and certifies you. Why am I hammering on this award? And also why am I going to hammer on the space that we have with the office that our friend and brother Rex occupies? Is that if you have worked at the United Nations and at this time you follow the campaigns that we have, we are asking that the UN Secretary General give us a UN Special Envoy on civil society. And this is a campaign that we started. Why have we started that? It's because we needed a space for civil society to be engaged, to be able to engage more meaningfully with the United Nations. And I see the office that Rex occupies as that space for civil society to be able to engage with government. That was why when we went to meet with the governor today, and the president or the chairman of the Civil Society Forum was talking. After all the accolades, he said to the governor that yes, we will continue to monitor your projects, and after your tenure, we will document them as lessons for whoever takes over from you. And I felt these are some of the areas where civil society, we need to also start helping whoever is going to take over to see what lessons can be learned and how they can use that to retool governance. Senator Shehu was talking about the NDDC. I was saying that there's a gap in terms of monitoring what goes on within that organization. And I think as non-profit or civil society, we now need to start looking at laws that we have locally where civil society representation is already legislated. For instance, within NDDC, is there a civil society representative there that has been legislated within our national laws? How can we use that space to ensure that we use that space to hold the system accountable? The day that we have today, because I belong to national associations of non-profits across the world. In the US, they have a civil society day on Capitol Hill, where there's a day, I think it's a day a week, as non-profits working on policy issues, the Capitol Hill is open to you for you to meet with legislators and provide them with information and on policies and realities that you're seeing on the ground. And I think we don't have to wait till December 14th, but with December 14th like this, maybe we can change it in ways that, yes, after celebrating ourselves, we also look for the toughest of the commissioners that we can't find, all right, and ensure that they have the mandate of the government to sit down and listen to us. And, you know, we can again begin to use this platform to let government understand many of the things that they should understand in terms of what we see. The governor has told us that there's a lot of work to be done, and I totally agree with him that there's a lot of work to be done. And our president also said that we can't afford to be antagonistic all the time. Of course, there's a role for protest within a democracy, but also we need to organize and stop agonizing, just like one of my ogas would say. And that organizing means that we have to now bring evidence to bear on the advocacy that we do. But also that as we have organized ourselves as Civil Society Forum in Delta, we continue to strengthen our forum in such a way that we can speak, not necessarily with one voice, but we can capture all voices in a document or in meetings or in dialogues or in consultations that would be able to help us tease out the diversity of opinion, the diversity of thoughts, and like our mother, Madam Ayobe said, you can't expect that when you said something, and all of us must follow it. That's the beauty of civil society. As I always say, civil society is the only society that has the ability of cohabiting stupidity and intelligence. And you must find a balance between that stupidity and intelligence for you to program, for you to retool, and for you to say this is how we would go having heard all of these conversations. The way government works, government moves past the law. I always tell my colleagues to say, if you say you're not going to listen to Delta State Television, for instance, you're kidding. Because that is where you understand government policies. Call them government mouthpiece or call them government whatever. That's what they are set up to do, to tell you about government. So you don't expect alternative information from them. But you want to know what government policy is out there, you must listen to Delta State Television or NTA. You now want alternative opinion, go to other TV stations. But what listening to those news helps you to do is to be able to, in real time, follow government policies and make input. And I'll cite one example and end it there. During the COVID period, we learned that the government will be starting, they've started conversations on our national development policy. What did we do? We wrote that peer pressuring themselves to say if that person can get this award, we too can get it. What did they do or what are they doing right? And that's the way that we are also peer pressuring and self-regulating ourselves as a sector to be able to continue to do well and do the best for ourselves. Once again, I thank the organizers and thank all our leaders for all they have done ahead of us. Now the mantle is for us. And we must hold that mantle, whether to fight or to engage, we decide. But whatever the decision is, we must focus and say that our country must not get to a stage where we all can live there. Otherwise, now all of us will chop breakfast.
All right, thank you very much. God bless you, sir. Please put your hands together again for my big man friend. It's not easy to have a big man friend. To bring this great man here to Delta is a huge honor on us. And please put your hands together again for him. The Executive Director of the Nigerian network of NGOs with over 2,000 network of NGOs. I know next year, sir, you will put me on grants. You will help me get grants for my event. God bless you in the name of Jesus. And now I want to call on my elder brother for 2-3 minutes, our very own Honorable Mike Madobe. Now, 2 days later, he's having his own father's burial. But here is he with us. I think he deserves a round of applause. Thank you very much, sir, for this honor. God bless you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols daily observed. Initially, I was thinking I'll have the opportunity to talk for about 10 minutes, but our time is fast spent, so I'll make it very short. What I want to talk about is something that has been mentioned by the speakers. We are celebrating our Delta State Civil Society Day today. But the truth is, they won't really understand what it means to be a part of that movement. There is this popular cartoon in the Guardian newspapers in the 80s, where a boy was telling the mother, I want to be an activist when I grow up. I want to be an activist when I grow up. So one day the mother was working with firewood. The boy said, Mommy, the smoke is too much, the smoke is too much. The mother said, you can't cope with ordinary firewood smoke. You want to go and do activists where they will use tear gas. So a lot of us, we would like to be identified as activists, but I won't really play the game the way it should be played. When you belong to a civil society group, what are you after? The most important thing for you is the good of the society. It is not the good of your pocket. But a lot of us, that is what is pushing us today. The recognition we are seeking is how do I get close to this man. I will give you a good example. When I was doing my master's in the University of Dundee in Scotland, the area close to the school, a lot of Nigerian students, African students, they like to rent houses close to that area. So the government was not generating any money at all from tax and some other payments from that area. I know in civilized countries, your area is cleaned by the government, the gutters are clean and everything. Because they were not making money, they came up with one funny law that will make those areas to be taken care of by those who live around them. And we started shouting, because indirectly you are trying to tax us. It was a simple issue to me, not a big deal. But from nowhere, we got a letter from the First Minister, who is like the Prime Minister of Scotland, inviting students in that area to appoint 15 people to meet with the Parliament. They took us there. We went to see the members of Parliament of Scotland. We went back. They wrote us the same day in the night again and said, if you are not satisfied with the explanation, can you meet with the First Minister on so-so day? The process was so seamless. But at the end of the day, we discovered that a lot of Nigerians who were part of that committee, the only thing they were interested in is how to remain in Scotland forever. So at the end of the day, they didn't take some of us as being serious. The same thing I want to admonish us here this evening. The civil society movement is not a child's play. Some of us you see here, we are looking good today. We are looking like, but what we have seen in life. In 1994, a year after the June 12th election, precisely on the 19th of August, on a Friday, the June 12th wahala was tough all over the place. So gist came to Ekuma